Hello, hello. So tomorrow I'm doing a workshop about shame and guilt and also regulating our nervous system. And it had me thinking about how often we don't want to talk about shame or guilt, yet many of us are dealing with it. I myself personally really suffered from a lot of physical symptoms as a result of unprocessed shame. It really was so much of the shame that I carried from my teenage years, early 20s, that I really believe had me having such severe gastritis and led me into such patterns of self-destruction over and over again. So when I look back at those times in my life, there was so much shoulding all over myself. And it's still present today, although now I have tools and a support system. Not that I didn't have a support system then, but I would say like I'm more vulnerable in talking about it and having awareness around it. But there was so much should. I should be better than I am. I shouldn't be this way. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't feel this way. How often are we justifying how we feel? We're telling ourselves we shouldn't be sad, we shouldn't be angry, we shouldn't be envious. And all of the feelings that we have a space in our life, right? And they're information. They show us something. They give us an opportunity to bring love, to bring light, to bring healing into our life. Another thing that I want to touch on today is that unsatiable doing. I am an all-star doer. Definitely a recovering workaholic. Still working through associating my value with my productivity. Like having that, if I'm super productive, I'm so valuable, I'm so worthy. And if I'm not being super productive, well, then I suck. I'm a piece of shit. So something I'm still working with. And I want you to be honest with yourself if you're listening to me. Do you take that time to rest? Is it okay for you to just sit back and chill? Or do you have to earn it? Do you have to justify it? Or do you have to get messed up in order to relax? And I really think that there is so much influence in our culture, the grind culture, the work hard culture, the capitalism, the patriarchy, that doing is somehow so much more valuable than being a human being, than practicing being in the moment and relaxing and resting. And they both, that doing and that being, they both have so much value. And yet there can be a disconnect and no harmony in that, right? If we're always doing, always grinding it out, always performing, being a human doing, not being a human being, there's going to be disruption in our life, in our minds, in our body, in our soul, in our emotions. So if we can examine our lives and see, am I in that chasing energy all the time? Am I in that hustle? Am I in that go? Is it hard for me to rest? And if I do rest, do I feel guilty? Do I feel ashamed? Do I feel like I'm bad or doing something wrong when I take a rest? Then that's information for us to look at and say, hey, maybe this is not actually true with a capital T. Maybe this pattern worked in my life at one point and now it's not working anymore. And how do we know it's not working anymore? Sometimes we have physical symptoms. We're sick. We're tired. We're gaining weight and we can't lose it. We're losing weight. We can't gain it. We have no energy. Headaches, irritability, we can't focus, we feel anxious, we have panic attacks, maybe we don't feel joy that much, we feel disconnected. All of these can be symptoms that we're out of harmony. They can also be symptoms that we're living with some unprocessed shame. So I want to also share that, like, no need to be ashamed of your shame. I know that's something that I need to remind myself of regularly. Like, okay, I'm feeling guilty or I'm feeling ashamed here. What is there in this situation, in this experience, for me to grow from, for me to heal, for me to bring that darkness into the light. And that's really so much about what healing is. Being willing, and it's hard, to bring that darkness, bring those uncomfortable things, bring the things we don't want to look at, bring the things that we're running from into the light, into love, so that we can heal them, we can work through them, we can receive support, and we can go on our merry way and have, a relatively peaceful, healthy, harmonic life, right? I think that's what so many of us want. We want to have a purposeful life. We want to have a value-centered life. We want to feel safe and secure. We want to be happy and healthy, right? These are pretty much across the board things that human beings desire. If you want those things, I think that you're not alone. I know that I desire those things. And it's also that practice of being okay and being okay to be uncomfortable when we're not in that state, and bringing in that compassion, that loving kindness, the curiosity, when we realize, hey, this doesn't feel right, something's off here, and when something's off, when something feels off in your body, or when your mind is unsettled, or you're having physical symptoms, emotional lability, like your emotions are all over the place, that's something to pay attention to. There's information there that's nudging you, or sometimes shoving you, to look at what's underneath the surface. What is that? What is that? What gets to have some love from me, or from, and from others? What do I get to work through that on the other side of working through this is something so beautiful. Sometimes it's something you could never even imagine. And I do believe that a lot of times those hard things, I firmly believe this actually, whether it's true or not, that the hard things that we go through, so much of the time, I don't want to say always, but so much of the time, those hard things that we're dealing with right now are an opportunity for us to live more fully with our truth, with our heart, with our soul, connected to spirit, grounded here on earth, right? Things may not feel like they're happening for you, especially in the moment. And a lot of times, if we can pull back that 360 view and look in and say, hey, this was hard, and I learned so much from this. This was so hard, and I grew. This was so hard, and I got to know myself, and I got to see a different perspective that now I carry with me every day and serves me and serves my relationships. It serves my community. It gave me that broader 360 view. All right, y'all, that's what I have for today. I hope you have a beautiful day. Drop some information below. If anything that I said resonated with you, if you have questions, if you want to share what you're going through, if you want to share the shitting on yourself or the shame that you might deal with certain things. It's really when we can talk about this and normalize this, because look, y'all, everybody's dealing with this on some level. Nobody's exempt. I listened to Brene Brown today, and she was even talking about how she gets in her scarcity story. So no matter how many tools we have, no matter how many trainings, education, money, all the things that we have or don't have, we're still going to be doing life. We're still going to have these human experiences. So when we can talk to each other, when we can be honest, when we can be open, when we can be vulnerable, there's so much healing in that connection. There's so much healing in that connection. All right, y'all. Have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.